on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here. If you are new to the channel, I make daily Charlotte Hornets content. So if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail or title of this video, I'm going to be talking about, can the Charlotte Hornets save their offseason? So I know that saves is a little, maybe it's too hopeful just because of the whole Miles Bridges situation. But by save, I simply just mean that maybe the outcome can end up being better than we thought, especially after the news of the Miles Bridges situation. If you've been following this team for a long time, you know they don't make too many offseason moves. So I know a lot of people, fans of other teams, will be like, oh, y'all were just going to bring back your players. That's big for the Charlotte Hornets, especially bringing back someone like Cody Martin, who's basically the best perimeter defender on the team. And then, of course, we were looking to bring back Miles Bridges. But after that, he's probably not going to come back. Don't even think I want him back. But besides the point, so I use save very vaguely, so don't think that I'm going to pull out like, oh, they'll get Brad Beal. But just by save, I just simply mean that maybe it won't be the fall from grace that it looks like it's going to be. So the way they can do that is, one, you're not going to be able to replace Miles Bridges' production. I don't care what you do, it's just not going to happen. But you can find players like it. So we know players. I hear a lot about T.J. Warren. T.J. Warren is actually would be a really good pickup for the Hornets. He isn't that much of a defender, which Miles Bridges can defend. He just wasn't that much of a defender. But T.J. Warren can really score. He can really put the ball in the hoop. So that's one thing that you can replace, and that comes from Miles Bridges. He's not the passer that Miles Bridges is, and he's also not the high flyer, so maybe it won't be as exciting. But T.J. Warren's a really good scorer. The issue is he can't, seem to stay healthy. But for a number standpoint, he can almost bring back the same production that Miles Bridges was bringing, because he's, when he's healthy and he's getting the ball, he can average around 20 easily. Maybe, I'm not going for 20, maybe like 17, 18, but around 20 is something TJ Warren is, capable of doing. And then he's also, like I said, he was hurt last year. He's been hurt, a couple of times recently. So he might be just looking for a prove-it deal similar to Victor Oladipo. So if the Hornets can bring in TJ Warren, that would be great. Another thing that would help the Hornets tremendously this offseason is from the fans. There's something we can do, and that is just not put too much pressure on this organization yet. And so I know it sounds crazy. I'm not defending this team because I'm usually upset at them for the most part, but this offseason is different. And by yet, we should put the pressure on them, but not yet. So once the Miles Bridges situation gets figured out, and then they kind of start, slowly, getting back into the swing of things, that's when we should start putting the pressure on them. But until they get that figured out, and until they can kind of finally move on from that, then we can start putting the pressure on them. And that's going to happen this season. So once the season starts, they've made their moves. They know what they're doing. They've done what they needed to do. So at that point, we start putting the pressure on them. I'm not saying that expect them to make the playoffs, because I just don't foresee that right now. And don't expect them to even make the playoffs and win and things like that. But we should expect them to try to get better. And trying to get better, maybe deconstructing a roster. I don't know which video is going to come out first, but I am going to have, or I do have, a video where I talk about just a potential rebuild for the Charlotte Hornets. Not that I expect that to happen. It was just, to have some fun. But the Hornets might look to do that. So if the season doesn't start off the way they want it to, and then you have Steve Clifford, he doesn't develop players type of coach, you need to get good and fast. And so I think the best way, to help this team out is addition by subtraction. So when a trade deadline comes, you need to have an Orlando Magic-like subtraction. And by that, I mean you need to get rid of everybody like they did 2 years ago, I think. They got rid of Vucevic and everybody, basically. Aaron Gordon, things like that. That's kind of what you need to do if you're the Charlotte Hornets and the season's not going that way. And I talk about it in that video. Just basically, Terry Rozier, while he's young, he's not young enough for a team that basically is back at, the beginning. And so you had to get rid of him. Of course, you got to get rid of Gordon Hayward. And then you have to get rid of players of value, even if they may be young. So players like Kelly Oubre, players like P.J. Washington, and maybe even James Bouknight. Those are moves you might have to make. But that we can start pushing pressure on them around that time. But like I said, to get better. Don't put any pressure on them to make the playoffs or anything like that, because I just don't foresee that happening. But they need to go ahead and start making moves to get better, whatever that may be. And I don't think it's by just adding players to this roster as is. Another thing that the Charlotte Hornets can do is simply just be proactive. Just be listening. You never know what star player may be upset. You never know what the package may be. I know we saw in a crazy package for Rudy Gobert. And we saw, you know, there's no telling what the package is going to be for Kyrie Irving. Well, actually, it's not going to be much. But for KD, we don't know what that package is going to look like. We don't know what a package for Donovan Mitchell will look like. So I'm not saying that the Hornets should go for those players, but just listen around the league. Sometimes I feel like the Charlotte Hornets are in a world of their own, and they're not like, you know, one with the league, and not in a good way. It's not like they just think they're better than everybody. It's just, I don't know. I think they're so just worried about their team, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like in the end you still don't do anything. So I think they just need to keep their, you know, eyes and ears open and just listen around the league. You don't know who's going to go get upset. You don't know like what kind of players you can get. Just be proactive in trying to make the team better, and that's the best thing you can do. And like I said before, that's where the fans come in, where we put the pressure on them to just want to be better, not necessarily make the playoffs this year, because I don't see that happening once again, but at least show them that, hey, you got to try to get better, whether that's get worse to get better, or, you know, you find a way to add players and make the roster work. But you have to try to get better, because we took like 4 steps back with the Miles Bridges situation, and then it wasn't like we were making leaps and bounds better in terms of building out the roster. I thought the roster could go far just by giving just a team a difficult time in the first round, which that's fine, but it sucks, because after the Miles Bridges situation, now you want even more, because it's like now the steps we have to take back, there's no more going through to play in and getting blown out. Like, we don't want to go through that phase again. So you have to, when you rebuild this team and rebuild it back up, as soon as they're back in a phase where they can compete, we should be trying to win the first round. Those are the kind of things that Charlotte Hornets fans need. So that's something that the front office needs to do, is stop, you know, being in their own world so much and just listen out. I'm not saying we have, because they're not like the Charlotte Hornets have never pulled like just some star player, and I'm not saying they will, but you just got to listen out and just try different things and see what will work. And that's something that they really have to do. We know Mitch Kupchak likes to sit back and wait, but times like this, I just don't think you can do that anymore, just because it's not going to get us anywhere. And then you took so long to get to this point where we're like, oh, we might make the playoffs and maybe beat a team, and to get set back like this, you got to get us right back to where we were, and you got to find a way to do that. But you will have leniency just because of the fact that this is such a difficult situation. But that does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, those are ways the Charlotte Hornets can save the offseason. I know it, you know, integrated like something the fans can do, but that's important. When they feel pressure, they make moves, and so that's something we fans got to do. We got to complain, things like that. I'm an advocate for I'm not gonna watch 82 games and be upset. I just can't do it. It's not good for anybody's mental, especially, you know, this is all just for fun at the end of the day anyway. But if you want this team to make moves, we have to find a way to just get it, you know, in front of the team to know, hey, I need to make this team better. And like I said, I don't care how they do it. They can deconstruct and then rebuild. They can just try to find the pieces, but they have to find a way to want to get better. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm just asking for the want. If I can hear a bunch of rumors from Shams and Woj that, hey, they didn't get this guy, but they were fighting. The Charlotte Hornets were fighting to get this guy. And it doesn't even have to be a superstar, just a better player. I'm perfectly fine with that, because it shows that the team is trying. I know not everything's going to come our way, but yeah, these are ways the Hornets can save their offseason, and one is just by being proactive. Just please be proactive. But once again, that does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe, because I'm at 92 subscribers as I record this video, and I was going to try to get 100 by the end of August, but y'all are killing it. Y'all are killing every video I put out, and I really appreciate that. It just builds a fire in me to want, you know, to make more content. That's why I made like this kind of video, not trying to report the news. I'm just trying to do, you know, more videos that just require interactions and fun and things like that. So once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.